Namaste. We'll be hanging out for a while together. So as we wait for others to join us, get comfortable, right? We've been reminding people every day to really check in and ask yourself, how are you doing right now, right? Just the way a loved one, a dear friend might ask you, how are you doing? When you don't have that kind of generic routine response of, okay, where you really, really ask yourself, how are you doing right now? And as you come upon your very personal answers from answering the question, how are you doing right now? Good morning, Amy. Then give yourself some time to become comfortable with how you're doing, right? So that might involve how you sit, whether you sit, where you're sitting, right? Are you on a chair or the floor? Are you leaning against the wall? Do you need to, leave the outside and come inside? Like really base your seat today on how you're feeling. We will get started in another, minute or so as we just wait a little longer for people to gather and connect. It sounds to me like the rain has come. I'm situated here in the beautiful Shakti space in the east coast of the U.S. and western New York. And it's kind of neat when you hear the very first inkling of rain, the moment where it shifts, right? That you can catch that moment, like something is changing right now. I hear the change. Another half a minute or so. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Judith, dear cousins. Good to see you guys. So, this is how we gather. This is how we see one another now, right? And it ain't so bad, It's different. Of course it's different. But it ain't so bad. Hello. Yes, say hello to each other. It's nice when you guys say hello to me and you offer the hearts. Good morning, Judith, Rusa. It's nice when you guys say hello to me. I appreciate it so much. Good morning, Patrick, and the hearts, etc. But say hello to each other, right? This is about us. This is for us. This is for us. Good morning, Liz. All right, my gang. Let's tune in together. Breathe in. a moment of gratitude, right? Plop yourself right into this here and this now, and give thanks for what you have, for what comes through, for where you are. Namaste. Good morning, Kate. Good morning, Heather, etc., etc. Nice to see everybody. So last night I caught this really neat image that keeps showing up in my mind today during my personal sit, during my sadhana, through my meditation, etc. And the image was someone mowing their lawn. Pretty straightforward, right? Pretty typical scenario that you would see at this time of the year on this side of the country, someone mowing their lawn. What made this site very interesting and what made me kind of stop in my tracks and really give it attention was this man was mowing a lawn that was a hill in the city. His house was up on a hill, and I was watching his strategy because it looked very challenging. This hill was quite steep and kind of atypical for the city. You might see that in Pittsburgh and of course in San Fran, Patrick, but you don't see that here in this part of the country in New York State. So I really, stopped and had some time to observe this man mowing the hill of his lawn, his front yard. And I noticed that he had a bit of a strategy. There was kind of a system involved where he would do the high part of the hill to about midsection, and then he'd go across, and he'd just keep covering like the top section. It would only go halfway down, and then when he was finished going kind of across this way through the hill, he would get down on the ground and do halfway up the hill. So half of his mowing was downward and half of his mowing was upward. It was kind of a strategy, I would assume, to tackle this kind of mammoth chore on a fairly regular basis, given that it is now, summer. And I just found it so interesting. And it wanted me to crawl inside of his head and did you come upon that by accident? Did you strategize it? Did it come from trial and error of trying to do the whole hill, and just exhausting oneself? And I don't know the answer. I didn't yell. It was a gas blower, lawnmower, so I didn't want to yell over the machine to find his answer. But I think it's more important that it piqued the eye of curiosity that I was asking the question. And questions from observance can be so incredibly beneficial. They can be one of the great many things that open our mind and kind of stretch our mind open. What is this? What's going on? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And then we can apply that kind of metaphorically, perhaps, to our own lives. Now, when we think of this visual scenario of this man mowing the lawn halfway down and halfway up, you might say that he kind of met in the middle of the hill. He met in the middle to somewhat strategize and make it workable, right? So then if we were to kind of apply that to ourselves, are we meeting ourselves in the middle? Are we working with our own, personal hills, if you will, right? Because we all got them, right? And we might start to notice, hopefully with compassion and not too much judgment, that we're not meeting ourselves in the middle. We're trying to plow up as fast as we can, right? Do the whole thing as quickly as we can, or not do it at all, right? Or just feel like we're sliding downhill, right? So then if we take a metaphor of balance, which might be a scale, I talk about this often in practice here at the studio, right? A scale. a meeting in the middle. And in order to balance out both sides of the scale, sometimes you have to take a few marbles from one side to place them over on the other side to acquire a state of evenness, a meeting in the middle, right? There is a bit of centering, right? And if we apply that to our personal lives and our states of well-being, which can only come from us asking the question, how are we doing today? Right? How are you today? Right? Well, I'm feeling this, and perhaps I need a little bit more of this, right? And we find a little bit of balance, right? We're the only ones that can do that, right? We're the only ones that can balance our own scales. And, in the yoga practice, we talk about the balance between yin and yang, or ha and ta, the sun and the moon of our existence. So the sun energy is our more masculine energy, our more fiery energy, our more active energy. And the moon energy is our more kind of passive, what we might call female, cooler, fluid-like energy. And the bottom line is we need both to acquire a state of balance, right? If we're all just fiery and active all the time, we're going to burn out, right? If we're fiery all the time, we will burn out, right? And if we're just kind of cool, laying low all the time, right? We're going to just kind of float away, if you will. Float away, if you will. So finding a state of balance is going to be different for each and every one of us, and no one can tell you how to do it other than yourself by you listening internally. And B, it's always changing, right? So finding a state of balance right now in this continuum of crisis, in this, attack of this novel virus, right? In this great concern of thousands upon thousands of people, passing from it, right? There's a lot right now to take us out of balance, right? Or maybe just your routine is different, right? Maybe the kids are home all the time and it's throwing you off, right? There are so many scenarios, right? And what our hill is, right? So we have to stop. We have to ask the question, what's going on with me today? And how, am I out of balance, right? There's two Sanskrit words that are coming up into my head right now. One is tamas. And tamas. Tamas is the quality of inertia, the quality of inertia. And rajas is the quality of overactiveness, right? Now, by nature, we more than likely carry one or the other. And more than likely, crisis brings out the habit of the one more than the other. For example, you might be the type that just wants to close your bedroom door and hide under the covers until this is over, right? And just really not participate. And then others, once we heard about the quarantine, we might be at the state of cleaning our house and kind of losing ourselves for 6, 8, 12 hours and not even knowing the time has passed, right? Just active, right? So in order to find that state of balance, right, we need a little bit of the other, right? If we're the type that are on the overactive side, we need to, bring up more states of calm. And if we're on the kind of more passive side, right, we got to put something into action, right? But only you, right? Only you know, right? You're the one mowing the lawn, right? You're the one that gets to create the strategy on how you meet yourself in the middle. And sometimes it's the hill and the crisis that finally get us to pay attention enough to actually do something about it, right? And breathe in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Again. One more. As you come into your seat or however you're approaching yourself today, feel free to move around a little bit. Movement helps us have a greater relationship to reality. We can get a sense of what the temperature is, what the texture is, where we're placed, how we feel. And once again, it's only us, right? Us, the individual. We're holding space for each other. We are the community that supports, but it is only us as individuals that can do this work. And when you feel ready, in your time, in your way, begin to feel the body settling down. Consider releasing some habitual points of tension, maybe through the shoulders, maybe through the jaw, or the hips. And dropping into the anchor of your tailbone, giving yourself permission to reside in this space for a little bit. Just the way you drop anchor in a boat, you decide to settle, right? You decide to settle in the waters at a very specific spot. Right? Drop anchor and allow yourself to settle here into your personal space. And start to open up through the waist, simply by elongating through the spine. And begin to gently broaden across the collarbone, sensing some width space through the heart. And soften your face. If your eyes are closed, a gentle reminder that this is not an effort to shut the world out, but a gentle priority to go within your personal space. Now, how are you doing? Right? How are you doing? Can you answer that question to the self with honesty? And can we meet ourselves? Can we meet ourselves as we are right now? So the practice of balancing oneself is not this project of self-perfection. It's just opportunity to become whole and well. So right now, can you meet yourself as you are? Let that be the starting point. Can you notice that you are breathing? Attempting to soften through the innards in such a way that the breath passes through with maybe more ease and greater freedom. Can you observe the traffic flow of the breath as it moves slowly from the belly to the chest on the inhale, and the chest to the belly on the exhale? And Can you sit in observance of this movement in such a way that it lights up your inner awareness? If you find yourself in a state of personal sludge, where things are just not moving, where you would prefer to just retreat and go lay down, leave all of it until it's over, I invite you, I encourage you to bring just a little bit more attention to your inhalations, giving rise to new energy, giving light and fire to the self. If you find yourself in a state of overactivity where it's difficult to sit still, where you want to just get up and run, I invite you to focus on the exhale as it plummets gradually down the body. If you're not sure, just let it be okay. Nothing has to happen today, right? You are not a project, right? This is your life. Learning how to meet yourself right now, as you are. Getting to know yourself right now, as you are. For it is only you that can address your personal inner state of balance and well-being. It is only you that can meet you in the middle. Go a little deeper into the breath if it's at all possible. Watching it as it slowly billows the chest on the inhale. And as it gradually empties under the navel on the exhale. And preparing for our daily lung strengthening exercise together. And a reminder to just go as slow as you can to build the breath gradually from the belly into the chest and the chest down into the belly. Empty the breath from the underbelly. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. Breathe in. Retain. Release the lock from the underbelly. Let that breath go. Let that breath flow. Move the body. We'll take a few more moments in quiet to just simply observe the breath as it moves through us. And the breath in itself is executing an internal state of balance. Without forcing it, just notice that your inhale might be lasting now as long as your exhale. That your breath is an expression of you becoming a more even human being. And this is just simply a strategy or a tactic or an approach. One of many to assist us in becoming more centered during this great time of uncenteredness. Slowly float the eyes open, bring the palms lightly close together. As you inhale, stretch the arms across the chest. And exhale, slowly draw them close. Inhale, stretch them wide. Exhale, draw them close. Again, breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Bring the hands together at the center of the chest. The right and the left. The yin and the yang. Meeting at the middle, right? One of the many benefits in this very kind of customary mudra, hand position gesture, right? The meeting at the middle. Breathe in. May we continue to seek our own inner guidance, asking the very simple question, how am I doing today? And may we meet ourselves in the middle of that experience, and pulling ourselves from the two extremes into the center. The active and the passive, the fiery and the cool, the effort and the ease, the up and the down, becoming joined together through the center of us. Namaste. So, I hope you have the best day you can have today, right? think that's a pretty fair expression. It's something to aspire for each and every day. May we have the best day that we can have today, based on what's coming at us today, based on what we're working with today. And a gentle reminder that our well-being should not be a project, right? Shouldn't be something, outside of us. And as we ask that question, how are we doing? We just want to find approachability, right? How can I handle this today, right? How can I handle this hill of grass today that I have to mow, right? And we all have the wherewithal and the internal abilities to answer our own questions, right? Inner state of balance comes from you. No one else can give that to you. It's you, the one that finds the middle. We're heading over to Zoom if anybody cares to do the physical asana practice. Christina consistently is there for me, placing that information up. Please feel free to join. You do not have to have been a Shakti student and or regular. These sessions are for everybody, just like these sessions are for everybody. We're getting people from the West Coast, we're getting people from Europe. So, to me, the practice of yoga is something that I can't teach you, right? I can guide you a little bit, right? But you're just finding your own inner state of balance, right? Through this shape or not, right? That's all the physical practice is we do this, on the mat. We apply it to the mat. And that's how I teach at the studio here. These sessions are the procedures into the physical. Well, thank you for the hearts. Love you all. Let's seal it up. Let's send it out. Let's send it out. Let's send it out. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with an easy heart.